Greetings, everybody who are present in different parts of the world. First and foremost, I hope that everybody is healthy and keeping good. It is indeed my great fortune for having been able to present my work at this prestigious international event. Today, I am going to present on the topic the pharmacologic and pharmacotherapeutic aspects of calcium channel blockers. As you all know, the calcium channel blockers are the most extensively used antihypertensive drugs in the treatment of hypertension with a wide variety of pharmacotherapeutic benefits in a number of cardiovascular abnormalities. Numerous different calcium channel blockers has been identified. Although these drugs have similar effect in reducing the blood pressure, they have wide variety of pharmacologic pleiotropic actions with differences in pharmacokinetic profiles and adverse drug reactions. The main aim of this work was to review, understand, and compare the complete pharmacologic profiles of all the calcium channel blockers, the differences in the pleiotropic pharmacokinetic and pharmacologic actions of these drugs, and the place that they occupy in the current pharmacotherapy. Amlodipine, for years, has been the safe and effective drug in the treatment of chronic hypertension. Due to its slow and prolonged duration of action, this drug is associated with a lesser incidence of reflex tachycardia. The newer calcium channel blockers also show to have lesser incidence of tachycardia, lower incidence of baroreceptor reflex, and pedal edema. Apart from this, these newer drugs additionally offer significant pharmacologic benefits and hence could become the therapeutic options for hypertension in renal and cardiovascular abnormalities. Regarding the classification of the calcium channel blockers, ideally, uh, calcium channel blockers are chemically classified into dihydropyridines, diphenylalkylamines, and benzodiazepines. The newer classification classifies them according to generation. The first generation drugs include nifedipine, verapamil, diltiazem, and nicardipine. These drugs generally tend to have a rapid onset of actions and hence are likely to cause reflex tachycardia by baroreceptor reflex mechanism. They are shown to reduce myocardial contractility and reduce the conduction of electrical impulses to the heart. Because of shorter duration of action, they require multiple dosing, which are indeed associated with an increased incidences of tachycardia and other adverse drug reactions. Nifedipine extended release belong to the second generation classification. Although they have better pharmacokinetic profile and better tolerated, they are the incidence of reflex tachycardia and baroreceptor reflex still persists. Benidipine belong to the second and third generation drugs. They have the most wide pharmacologic pleiotropic effects which are discussed in detail. The third generation drugs include amlodipine, lercanidipine, azelnidipine, felodipine, isradipine, nisoldipine, and nimodipine. These drugs have slow and prolonged duration of action and hence have lesser incidence of reflex tachycardia. They are also associated with the vast pleiotropic effects which are discussed in detail. Cilnidipine belong to the fourth generation drugs. They possess L and N type calcium channel blocking actions and hence can attenuate the activation of sympathetic system. Coming to the general pharmacology of calcium channel blockers. Calcium channel blockers generally act at two distinct sites, the vascular smooth muscles and in the heart. In the vascular smooth muscles, due to depolarization, the L-type voltage-gated calcium channels open, allowing the influx of calcium from the extracellular fluid into the cytosol, which causes a closure of the L-type calcium channels. The increased concentration of calcium in turn triggers the release of calcium from the sarcoplasmic reticulum and the mitochondria. Calcium in turn interacts with calmodulin, forming a calcium-calmodulin complex, which causes the phosphorylation of myosin light chain kinase, which in turn increases the blood pressure and contractility. These calcium channel blockers significantly blocks and inhibits the movement of calcium from the extracellular fluid into the cytosol, thereby decreasing the intracellular calcium concentration level. Whereas in the heart, due to the rapid depolarization and upstroke caused by the voltage-gated sodium channels, the calcium channels open, allowing the influx of calcium. This is called the plateau phase. Because of increased intracellular calcium, the calcium binds to troponin, interacts with them, and relieves the inhibitory effect of troponin on the contractile apparatus. Also, due to increased intracellular concentration, the calcium moves rapidly across the SA node, AV node, increasing the contractility. This also increases the interaction of actin and myosin, which in turn increases the contraction. These calcium channel blockers, apart from inhibiting the L-type voltage-gated channels, they also inhibit the phase 3 repolarization by inhibiting the potassium channels, which in turn inhibits the phase 4 depolarization and prolongs the duration of the action potential. The pharmacology of the classic calcium channel blockers have been described briefly in the summary part. The pharmacology of newer calcium channel blockers include first is about the lercanidipine. Lercanidipine occurred due to slower and prolonged onset of action, and because of its highly vascular selectivity and high lipophilicity, they tend to accumulate and store in the cell membranes of vascular tissue and hence cause profound and persistent vasodilatory effects. Also, it is the most highly nephroprotective drug among the various different calcium channel blockers. This drug accumulates in the afferent and efferent arterioles, causing vasodilation, inhibits the renin production, increases the renal blood flow, thereby reducing the glomerular resistance, and hence could become the drug of choice for the treatment of glomerular hypertension. Generally, in atherosclerosis, due to increased cholesterol level, it opposes the antagonism of the calcium channel blockers, but lercanidipine is shown to have the highest tolerance to cholesterol, which indicates its usage in atherosclerosis. It also has weak T-type calcium channel blocking property, causing attenuation of oxidative stress, inflammation, and apoptosis, thereby producing significant neuroprotective effects also. The ideal dosing of lercanidipine is 10 mg per day on an empty stomach, which can be gradually increased to 20 mg per day. Pharmacology of felodipine. Felodipine is highly vascular selective, which produces significant reduction in the diastolic blood pressure. It significantly reduces the pulmonary arterial occlusion pressure by reducing the left ventricular end diastolic volume, thereby producing a profound decrease in preload and afterload. This suggests that it could become the drug of choice in left ventricular hypertrophy, treatment of congestive heart failure, as well as the treatment of angina pectoris. Studies also suggest that felodipine increases the coronary sinus blood flow and improves myocardial oxygen demand. It is also shown to have a weak diuretic and natriuretic effect. The dosing of felodipine is about 5 mg orally OD and gradually increased to 10 mg over 2 weeks. Pharmacology of isradipine is similar to felodipine except the fact that it is not lipophilic. Studies suggest that during long-term therapy, the effects, which are similar to felodipine, were not significantly present, suggesting that it cannot be used in the long run. Pharmacology of nisoldipine. Nisoldipine, the newer drug, is the most vascular selective of all the available calcium channel blockers, which is an extended release preparation which produces its action over 24 hours with minimal fluctuations in the plasma drug concentrations. This suggests that nisoldipine could be dosed once a week, producing significant reduction in the blood pressure without causing any reflex tachycardia and negative inotropic effects. Ideal dosing of nisoldipine is 17 mg OD on an empty stomach, which is titrated to 34 mg on a weekly basis. The controlled release preparation, which offers its action over 24 hours, is started at 20 mg OD on an empty stomach. Pharmacology of nimodipine. Nimodipine stands out from the other calcium channel blockers in being significantly neuroprotective. Similar to lercanidipine, this accumulates in the cerebral arteries and arterioles, causing significant reduction in cerebral ischemia, causing increase in blood flow, thereby relieving the vasospasm in, in subarachnoid hemorrhagic conditions and treating cerebral ischemia. Of all the drugs, it is the most highly lipophilic and tends to penetrate the blood-brain barrier with considerable ease. This drug, due to its significant antioxidant potent property by inhibiting the lipid peroxidase and superoxide dismutases, it is also used as a potent anti-ischemic drug. Due to its weak T-type calcium channel blocking property, it could be used as an anticonvulsant effects. Then the studies have also shown that it significantly slows the progression of dementia. As it relieves vasospasm, it could also be used in the treatment of cluster headache. The dosing of nimodipine is initially 60 mg orally on an empty stomach every 4 hours for 21 days. Therapy should ideally begin within 96 hours of hemorrhage. Clinical trials and a number of in vitro and in vivo studies have shown that when the drug is dosed within 96 hours of hemorrhage, it profoundly inhibits or prevents the progression of cerebrovascular damages such as stroke. Because of significant impairment in hepatic failure patients, the dose has to be at 30 mg in hepatic conditions. Pharmacology of benidipine. Benidipine has the most wide pharmacologic pleiotropic effects among all the calcium channel blockers. The vascular selectivity of benidipine is more than 20 times when compared to that of amlodipine. The most profound pleiotropic effects of benidipine includes its action in the kidney as a nephroprotectant and its ability to act as an anti-atherosclerotic drug. In the kidney, the benidipine dilates the afferent and efferent arterioles, increases the renal blood flow by acting as a potent natriuretic drug, and it also shows that benidipine can slow the progression of renal failure by triggering the activity of anti-apoptotic protein and reducing the apoptosis of renal tubules. Because it reduces and decreases proteinuria by inhibiting glomerular platelet-derived growth factor, it could be used as a drug of choice for the treatment of glomerular and diabetic nephropathy. In atherosclerosis, benidipine acts as a free radical scavenger and inhibits lipid peroxidases and superoxide dismutase levels, thereby relieving the endothelial myocardial wall stress, treating endothelial dysfunction, and thereby producing its vasodilatory effects. Studies have shown that benidipine significantly reduces the triglyceride levels due to its free radical scavenging property. This suggests that benidipine could become the drug of choice for treating hypertension with elevated cholesterol levels and in patients who are at significant risk of atherosclerosis and renal problems. The dosing of benidipine is initially 2 to 4 mg once a day, which could be increased to a maximum of 8 mg per day. The dose should not exceed 4 mg in severe hepatic impairment patients since it significantly inhibits a number of CYP enzymes and causes accumulation in hepatic failure. The pharmacology of cilnidipine is similar to benidipine in that it decreases proteinuria and produces the nephroprotective effect. But cilnidipine, when compared to benidipine, has significant and better anti-ischemic action because of its ability to decrease the free fatty acid oxidation and increases oxygen demand and has a favorable glucose metabolism. Of all the calcium channel blockers, cilnidipine is associated with the least incidence of pedal edema. The dosing of cilnidipine is 5 to 10 mg per day, which could be increased to a maximum of 20 mg per day. Similar to benidipine, the dose in liver failure should be only 5 mg per day. Pharmacology of acylnidipine. Acylnidipine inhibits both L and T-type calcium channels. The standard of acylnidipine is that it acts as a potent anti-inflammatory, decreasing the inflammatory markers such as cytokinins, interleukin 6, interleukin 1, interleukin 4, and tumor necrosis factor, which generally is shown to be elevated in atherosclerotic conditions. Acalnitipin also reduces the cerebral ischemia because of its ability to penetrate the blood-brain barrier and because of its high vascular selectivity. Acalnitipin also, because of its anti-inflammatory, anti-apoptotic, anti-thrombotic action, it could be used in the treatment and prevention of cerebral ischemia. Acalnitipin, because of its T-type calcium channel blocking property, could be used in seizure control and prophylaxis. Dosing of acalnitipin should be initially 8 mg per day, gradually increased at 4 weeks interval to 16 mg. The dose should be reduced in case of hepatic impairment to 8 mg. Clevidipin. Clevidipin is the ultra short acting calcium channel blockers which could be used in the treatment of emergency hypertension. Studies shows that clevidipin dilates only the arteries and arterioles, producing profound peripheral resistant reduction and increasing the stroke volume. When compared to sodium nitroprusside, the drug has significant better anti-ischemic properties and also shows to increase the renal splanchnic blood flow. The dosing of clevidipin is 1 to 2 mg per hour. The maintenance dose is 4 mg per hour. The most important disadvantage of clevidipin is that because it is administered through a triglyceride emulsion, it causes increase in triglyceride levels and is significantly contraindicated in patients with high lipid and cholesterol levels. The pharmacology of lasodipine is similar to acalnitipin in that it acts as a significant anti-inflammatory drug, inhibiting the anti-inflammatory mediators, suppressing cell proliferation, and thereby inhibiting the expression of matrix metalloproteinases. The dosing of lasodipine is 2 mg every morning, which can be increased at 4-week intervals to 4 mg. Drug interactions of calcium channel blockers. Almost all the calcium channel blockers, because of its extensive hepatic metabolism profile, either acts as an enzyme inducer or as an enzyme inhibitor and has a significant drug interaction with a number of drugs. Of all drugs, verapamil has the most drug interaction. The newer calcium channel blockers undergo extensive CYP450 hepatic metabolism, either inhibiting the enzyme or inducing the enzyme, and hence requires significant dosage modification as suggested in hepatic failure patients. Summary of calcium channel blockers. Okay, nifedipine, which is the first generation dihydropyridines, is highly vascular selective and because of its rapid action has significant incidence of reflex tachycardia. Verapamil and diltiazem has most profound action in the heart, slowing the conduction of calcium across the SA and AV node and prolonging the duration of action potential. Because of its unfavorable pharmacokinetic profile and increased amount of drug interactions, diltiazem is more commonly used when compared to verapamil. Amlodipine is the most classical calcium channel blockers which is used in the treatment of chronic hypertension. The drug also has weak anti-atherosclerotic and nephroprotective effects, but however, this effect is not been studied in long run in human patients, which suggests that the usage of amlodipine in renal patients is highly debatable. Lercanidipine, the novel drug, stands out in its renoprotective effect, where it causes significant vasodilation of afferent and efferent arterioles and hence could become the drug of choice for hypertension in renal failure patients. Felodipine has shown pronounced reduction in diastolic blood pressure, causing a significant reduction in pulmonary artery occlusion pressure, left ventricular end diastolic pressure, and hence significantly reduces the preload. Hence, this could become the drug of choice for the treatment of heart failure and angina. Nisoldipine, which is the most vascular selective and has the longest duration of action, could be the drug of choice to treat hypertension in black people. Nimodipine, the most lipophilic drug, is the most neuroprotective calcium channel blockers where it significantly accumulates in the cerebral blood vessels, causing vasodilation, increasing cerebral blood flow, uh, inhibiting cerebral ischemia, and could be used in the treatment of hypertension with subarachnoid hemorrhage. Agabenadepine as the most wide pleiotropic effects and could be used as a potent antihypertensive drug with anti-atherosclerotic property and nephroprotective effects. Cilnidipine inhibits L and N channels with equal affinity and hence has no reflex tachycardia and SNS activity. It could be used as a drug of choice for white coat hypertension and bedtime hypertension. Cilnidipine and lazidipine has profound anti-inflammatory property and could be used in the treatment of atherosclerosis in hypertensive patients who have increased levels of inflammatory markers. Clevidipine is an ultra-short acting drug which is used in the treatment of emergency control of blood pressure. It also has a better anti-ischemic property to that of sodium nitroprusside. Conclusion. Conclusion and discussion. The calcium channel blockers have been a long stay in the treatment of hypertension and angina. The first and the second calcium channel blockers are associated with significant adverse drug reactions such as reflex tachycardia, baroreceptor reflex, depressive actions in the cardiac cells, and edema. Numerous studies have shown that the novel calcium channel blockers are highly advantageous, and clinical trials has been conducted to compare amlodipine with the novel drugs. Some of the clinical trials are shown. Clinical trials of lercanidipine indicates that lercanidipine significantly act as a nephroprotectant by relieving albuminuria and normalizing the creatinine clearance. Studies in felodipine shows that felodipine significantly reduces the diastolic blood pressure, relieving left ventricular hypertrophy and stress, which could be measured by beta natriuretic peptide. Nimodipine trials shows that nimodipine could act as a neuroprotectant, relieving cerebral ischemia, and when dosed properly, could also prevent cerebrovascular damages such as stroke. Benedipine trials suggest that it is the most widely used drug with most pronounced pleiotropic effect and could be used in the treatment of hypertension with atherosclerosis, renal damage, and in patients with elevated triglyceride levels. Cilnidipine and lazidipine trials has shown that they are more pronounced in reducing the inflammatory levels and could be used in the treatment of atherosclerosis with elevated inflammatory markers. The SPRINT and the ACCELERATE trials of clevidipine has shown that clevidipine reduces the mean blood pressure from 180 to 180/100 to 150/90 within 30 minutes of administration, and hence it could be used in the treatment of emergency control of hypertension. These are some of the additional pharmacological advantages of the newer calcium channel blockers as discussed below. Conclusion. Although the older and the newer drugs are similar to amlodipine in reducing the blood pressure, they have wide variety of other advantageous pharmacological actions such that they differ in lipophilicity, vascular selectivity, anti-ischemic property, anti-atherosclerotic property, renoprotective property, nephroprotective property, neuroprotective property, and hence could become the drug of choice in treatments of hypertension with angina, atherosclerosis, renal failure, cerebral ischemia, nephropathy, and coronary artery disease in the future. Future perspective is that this extensive review could enable the clinician to use the novel drugs in a wide variety of cardiovascular abnormalities in hypertensive patients, and it could also lay a significant platform for initiating real-time clinical trials of these different novel pharmacological properties of calcium channel blockers, thereby bringing a paradigm shift and revolutionizing the calcium channel blockers prescribing in the clinical setting. I am also very happy to convey that my work has been published in the book called Calcium Channel Blockers Drugs for Heart and Hypertension, which provides a complete guide on the pharmacologic and pharmacotherapeutic aspects of all the calcium channel blockers with brief pharmacological actions, pharmacokinetic profiles, adverse drug reactions, and dosing of every single drug. Anybody who are interested to purchase this book can contact me in my mail ID. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.